On April 9, 1865, in a small Virginia village called Appomattox Courthouse, the long and bloody American Civil War came to a dramatic and historic close. It was here that Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant, signaling the end of the Confederacy and the beginning of the nation's journey toward reunification. The road to surrender. By early 1865, the Confederacy was crumbling. The Union Army, under General Grant, had finally broken through the Confederate defenses at Petersburg after months of siege. Richmond, the Confederate capital, fell on April 3, 1865. With supply lines cut and his army dwindling, Lee attempted to retreat west and join forces with Confederate troops in North Carolina. But Union forces pursued relentlessly. Outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and running out of food and ammunition, Lee's army was trapped near Appomattox Courthouse. Realizing there was no way out and unwilling to see more of his men die needlessly, Lee made a difficult and noble decision: to surrender. The meeting at Appomattox. On the afternoon of April 9, Generals Lee and Grant met in the home of Wilmer McLean, a local resident whose farm had ironically also seen the very first shots of the war during the First Battle of Bull Run. The scene was somber and respectful. Lee arrived in full dress uniform, while Grant, covered in dust and mud from the road, wore a private's coat with his general's stars sewn on. Despite their differences, the two men treated each other with dignity and courtesy. Grant offered generous terms. Confederate soldiers would be paroled and allowed to return home, taking with them their personal belongings, horses, and sidearms. These terms helped ensure a peaceful surrender and laid the groundwork for national reconciliation. Lee, visibly moved by the kindness shown, accepted the terms. When he left the house, his face was drawn, and some of his men reportedly wept at the sight of him. The war is over. Though other Confederate forces remained in the field, Lee's surrender at Appomattox effectively marked the end of the Civil War. Over the following weeks, other Confederate generals also surrendered, and the Confederate government ceased to exist. Just 5 days later, on April 14, 1865, President Abraham Lincoln would be assassinated, a tragic coda to the war he had fought to win. Legacy. The surrender at Appomattox is remembered not just for its significance in ending the Civil War, but for the dignity, respect, and humanity shown by both sides in the face of defeat and victory. It set a powerful example of how a deeply divided nation could begin to heal. Today, Appomattox Courthouse National Historical Park preserves the site of this historic event, reminding future generations of the price of division and the power of reconciliation.